Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's December 15th, 10 days away from Christmas. You guys are here with Professor and the Samp. I'm Bobby Sampson, joined as always with my guy, the Professor, the intellectual soul himself, the master of disaster, the king of sting.
Man, makes me feel even better. Now I understand how a proper introduction can just hype you up for what you're doing. Man, I'm ready. I'm
And
into
I'm
it.
not even finished, Professor, because that was a dramatic pause. Ladies and gentlemen, WSN's very own Apollo Creed. Ladies and gentlemen, the Professor and the Samp are at you. 10 days away from Christmas. Here we are, Monday morning. How you doing, Professor?
I'm doing well, doing well. Man, this has been a crazy, crazy week. Um, I I was thinking about what was going on the week of wrestling, and
Yeah,
the major thing, of course, has been John Cena's last match.
right.
And oh my goodness, people, you know what irritates a bear?
What makes a bear go grr?
Uh, it's we as fans, I get it. We're a fickle bunch, and we want so many certain things, and we want this and that, and then we get something close to it, and then we're not happy about it. How many people have said, "Oh, I'm ready for John Cena to get out of here"? Oh, John this, John that. Five dooms, moves of doom, blah blah blah. And then they have the last match. Oh, they didn't do John right. Gunther shouldn't have made him tap. This is blah blah blah. Okay, first off, if you are a wrestling fan and know anything about the sport, not entertainment, the sport of wrestling, is when you have your last match, you go out on your sword. You do the job for that person. You want to help elevate that person. You want to make that person look good. You want to leave the business better than you found it. And for everyone that is so crying so much about this John Cena tapping out because he never tapped out. And oh my God, he smiled and that just ruined it. And look, again, this is just my opinion, but John is a traditionalist. No matter what you may think of John Cena, he is a traditionalist in heart. He knows, he knew from the get go that he was going to lose, no matter who the last person was going to be. Now, we all have our thoughts of, was Gunther the right person to beat John? Because it's like, well, Gunther didn't need that. There's a lot of younger talent that could have did with the rub from John. But myself personally, I think Gunther was the right call. It helps his momentum get back to what it was pre world title run, which they botched. He has two of the biggest names in the sport that he's retired, and it gives him that much more credibility that I personally enjoy. And if the rumors are true, he's going to get a third one in 2026. But that's what makes the bear roar this week.
Fair enough, man. And ladies and gentlemen, what makes a bear go grr? is going to be a continuing segment as we move on here on Professor and the Samp. We got it out early, but we'll see where it fits in and we're going to put it in there. Now, I have patiently listened to everything you said, Professor, and I agree with everything you said. Gunther, in my opinion, was the right guy in hindsight. Let's look at the whole card here. We talk about a guy who wants to leave the business. He said he wants to leave the business better than he inherited it, correct?
Correct.
This Saturday night's main event was a card based on what John Cena wanted. Throughout this whole process of retirement, he hasn't asked for much. These were the things that he asked for. When he announced his retirement at the beginning of the end of 2024, or yeah, 24, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been the end of 24. We already knew he was going to lose his last match. Who was it going to be against? We didn't know. Would it be Ron Killings? Would it have been this? But they kind of used all those utilities. You know, you think about it. Would Miz been the best guy to do it? Would have Edge been the best guy to do it? Maybe, but I think Gunther was the right choice. Now, the only thing that bothered me about that match was the 10-minute struggle that if it was over 5 to 7 minutes
Yeah.
of that sleeper hold. Okay.
Yeah.
We saw John get out of it. We saw John get back into it. We saw now that smile at the end, that was done on purpose because he knew the reaction that everyone was going to have. John Cena chose to tap out. John Cena chose the finish. It wasn't Triple H. It wasn't the bookers. It wasn't the producers. It was him. People, let's not forget the man who called the final shot on his career was John. It wasn't Hunter. Blame Hunter because it's easy. Okay. Hunter's taking a lot of crap, but a lot of it can't be blamed on him. And I'm going to stand up for my guy that way. I will. What I took away from this last night was very interesting. If you look at all three matches combined, okay, Cody and Oba went for 9 minutes and 3 seconds. Bailey and Sol Ruka 9 minutes and 24 seconds. AJ Styles, Dragon Lee, their match was only 6 minutes and 26 seconds. Okay.
Good Lord.
John Cena, Gunther went 23 minutes and 43 seconds. Now, if you add up all those other three times, they barely match how long that one match went. Those three matches were the equal of that one match.
Yep.
Right? Now, the match itself was great. I didn't have a problem with it. I really didn't. It was what I expected it to be, and it did great things for Gunther. It made him a super heel again.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, if you think about it, everything that John Cena represents is everything that Gunther doesn't represent. Gunther is my grandfather's and my young father's wrestler. Old school, 24-hole boots, right?
Yes.
Black trunks, no nonsense. I mean, he's a modern day Luthez. He's a
Yes.
modern day Bruno Sammartino. Shit. Maybe even a Bob Backlund. Just the simplicity of the man. His work speaks for himself in that ring. He doesn't need sports entertainment. The fact
Exactly.
that he's a throwback makes him sports entertainment. And it's almost fitting that the wrestler takes it back from him. Let's look at it from that perspective.
And like I agree with you wholeheartedly. And one thing that makes Gunther extra special to me is name his finisher move. He does not have a straight finishing move. He can beat you with the sleeper. He can beat people with
Powerbomb.
power bombs.
Yeah.
He's beating people with clothesline.
Yeah.
He comes at you with so much different things
Yeah.
that makes him, like you said, stands out in this sports entertainment world now. And the throwback is just that again for us wrestling fans that grew up in the 80s, 90s, where wrestling was a little more simpler. It is it's refreshing to see that and that WWE actually gets it. So I agree with you 100% on your assessment.
Everyone shits on John Cena, David Otunga. This is an opportunity. This whole week we've seen people praising him, people taking shots at him. Everybody's trying to get that clickbait piece out there. David Otunga talking about being a bully, this and that. I mean, if there's anyone who can talk about that, it would have been Wade Barrett, but he was there calling his final match. You know, I mean, if there was ever a time where anyone could argue the one time that I could see John Cena being what they're saying was with that whole Nexus angle, right? Probably that's the only time that I can think of in my heart of hearts that I could physically see where he maybe cost something was with the Nexus angle. So if
I
anyone should be angry, it should be Wade Barrett.
well, and I look at it like this too.
And for those who
Eh,
don't know, you got to go back and take a look at this. This was in 2012, 2013.
right. I look at it like this. I'm gonna bring up a person that I did not care for, Hulk Hogan,
Sure,
and the history of hearing his politicking in the back.
sure.
So I look at John Cena as similar to that, but you think about it like I think about it like this. As much as people talked about Cena stop runs, Cena cost me this or that. Cena did a lot for people too that was seen and not seen, and he wasn't out and out an asshole because in even with some of the things that he's accused of doing and he may have done, I'm not justifying it, but when you are in that spot, you try to protect your spot because the wrestling has been that way for since the beginning of time, since wrestling was started. You always tried to protect your spot. You didn't want to go out long because the young guy could come in and take your spot or that next wrestler. So again, I get where some people don't care for Cena. I get it. But Cena did so much more for wrestling fans, I believe. Even to this day, Cena gives back to so many people. He's still the number one make-a-wish person in history of
The world.
make-a-wish.
Yeah.
He does so much for people. And again, sometimes there is people you like, people you really like, and there's people you despise, but then you have those people you despise but you respect. John, I've said a lot about John over the years. I got tired of the same old gimmick, the same this and that. But then John was true to himself and his character. And I respect that. And he wanted this to be a memorable year, and it has been. The ups and downs is it we are the main point is we continue talking about John Cena and his last year.
No,
So
look, where look, I'll give you an example here that many people may not know. And it was WrestleMania. I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you do, but for those out there, remember Brodus Clay? Somebody called my mama with the
yep,
funky
the
tacos.
Mr. Tyrus of
Tyrus. Now you can catch him on Fox News and Friends. Um,
yes.
do I sense another grr moment coming here, Bear?
Actually, you might be surprised on that one.
All right. So it was WrestleMania, and I believe it was either Bray and Orton that went too long, or Orton and Edge that went too long. I can't remember. I don't know the match, but the match before Tyrus's match went too long, and the match after Tyrus's match would have been John Cena's in the match. So they're standing at Gorilla, and they tell Tyrus, "Sorry, buddy, you're not going to get your opportunity because that match went too long. We have to go into the main event now." This were the time, boys and girls, where pay per view still controlled the time. If you didn't finish your show in time, they would cut you. That's how it was. All right. So John Cena's standing there. He says, "Hey, how long do you need?" He goes, "Oh, about 5 minutes, 5, 6 minutes, right?" He goes, "Okay, well, I'm going to go take a crap. That should take me 5, 6 minutes." He went, I don't know if he actually went to the washroom or not, but he went and hid behind something so this guy could have his opportunity. Talk about it.
Yes, sir.
One could argue, and in my opinion, if the best scenario for a John retirement match would have been the match that he had against, if you want to call it a match, against Bray Wyatt in the very first WrestleMania of the pandemic, the one that they held at the institute, the
Yeah,
training institute.
yeah.
That match right there to me would have been the curtain closer. That gave us everything. That gave us NWA, NWO John Cena. It gave us everything we wanted. We got the heel John Cena, I guess, to a certain extent. What John did in this last year, I have no problem with. Yes, it's been with full of flubs, but I don't think they were by his hand. The people who were responsible for it didn't even show their face last night. Fair?
Video. He's sending a
Well,
video.
everyone sent a video, but you should have been there, right? I'm just my opinion.
Well,
Kurt Angle was there.
some of these guys are big movie stars, so they got to stick to their schedule.
Well, hey, look, it is what it is. Look, everything went well last night. I have no problem with it. Do I have my concerns over the year of 2025? I don't think they're really exclusive to the John Cena retirement. I think it's WWE in general in the year of 2025. As great as they've been financially, I think they really left a lot on the table to be desired. I think they made a lot of mistakes just across the board. I don't think a lot of it, I think some of it's Triple H's fault, but I don't think it all is. I think he's a scapegoat for everybody, as we saw last night.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
and if the fans are controlling this, and you know what, this could be a great thing. We're gonna get a heel character back in Triple H. I see it coming. We saw the seeds being planted here. Okay, something's gonna happen where we're gonna get the heel Triple H back, where he's gonna have a character again. How is that gonna play? I don't know, but I see it. His comment last night, I thought you guys would be louder with the boost. He's playing into it.
yeah.
Triple H isn't. If there's anyone else in this world who's got a thicker skin when it comes to this business, is Hunter.
He
He can play with
understands it.
this, man. He can play with this, right?
Yeah.
So let's see what they do with it. Let's see what they do. But overall, look, I had no problem with the match. I had no problem with John Cena's ear. I had no problem with any of it. I guess my question, and I asked you this last night in a text, and you said to me, "Yeah, he'll be back, but in this, and this." But what I think what I was trying to say to you, Bear, is he going to be the first professional wrestler who retires from in-ring competition and stays retired from in-ring competition, not retired from WWE as an ambassador or someone that shows up at WrestleMania and this and that, but as a match guy. The guy who holds the record, in my opinion, Shawn Michaels, until he realized that money in Saudi was too much.
Um. Honestly, I think he will end up doing like most wrestlers, have a one-off, and the reason being, it's hard to stop doing what you love. And if you get the right opportunity at the right time with the right set of circumstances, you actually may do it. And again, does it take away from when a person says they're retired. To me, it doesn't. You know, I understand why. And just think about all the talk John is going to bring up over these next years. Oh, John was this, that, and you talking to kids who never got the opportunity to see John. And maybe something happens where it's the perfect setup. Again, it's hard. Again, I know a lot of people talk about wrestlers who retired, like the Terry Funk retirement of wrestling.
Well, look, here's the thing, Bear, if I may really interject here really
Yeah.
quickly. So I think he will. I don't think he's coming back. And I say that because of John Cena, the man himself, and how he conducts his life. He's very disciplined. He doesn't normally go against or go back on what he says for himself. We've seen this time and time again. Now, I have the privy up here in Canada. They have we have a network here. It's non-existent anymore. Okay, but they used to carry a lot of WWE content and stuff like that. Jimmy Corderas had a show on there. The former WWE wrestler Renee Paquette or Renee Young, as some people know her, came from that show as well. Okay, it was a weekly wrestling kind of show that was aired before SmackDown or Raw, and they would kind of be in studio and stuff like that and have all that kind of stuff going on. Ardell Cal used to be a part of that show too. So they had this competition for local wrestlers across the country of Canada to compete and get an opportunity to have a tryout for the WWE.
Okay.
Now, one of the guys that came from that show was a local guy here in Vancouver, and he had the build. This guy looked like the masterpiece. Okay. In fact, he physically, even his face looked like he could have been the masterpiece's brother. They looked alike.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I can't remember the brother's name. I apologize. But the reality of it is that he tried too hard and John Cena saw through it. And you saw the seriousness of John Cena at that point. He didn't care that you were a professional wrestler. You had the experience in the ring. He bypassed it. He called the dude out on all his shit and he got kicked off the show. So this is the kind of John Cena that I see in real life. This is who he is. Right? What you see on TV is 90% of what you see in real life with the guy. He is steadfast to his discipline. He is steadfast to the way he lives his life. I believe if the man says he's retiring, he's retiring. I don't think he's coming back to in ring. Now, the other piece that leads me to believe this is I've noticed photos of him in the last couple of weeks getting out of a car, walking. He's got a hunch developing, man. Go back and take a look. He's not moving the way he's used to move. Like this is taking a toll on the guy. I don't know, he'll always maintain that he did it, but man, I don't know how you get that physique without it.
Right.
I'm sorry to say, I don't want to disparage him. You can get so far without taking anything. Okay? Whey powder, proteins, this and that. You can do all that stuff, but that mass, that certain level of mass that you get to can only be helped by a certain friend or two.
Right. Of
Just
course.
saying. Okay. And I speak from experience, not saying that I was, in that sense, but I was really heavily into bodybuilding at one point in my life. And I really appreciated the science. I appreciated the art form, and when you get to that level, it's just not training with weights anymore. It's understanding the psychology and the dynamics of what it needs to grow. You can only push the body so far without adding stuff to it,
Right.
right? And at that point, if you don't add stuff, then you just get big without the definition. So that's the way I look at it. The man's discipline will not bring him back, I don't think. And if you want, Bear, we can put a bet on it right now, and we can timestamp it. Are you what's your favorite soda pop?
Mm. Dr. Pepper.
All right, so I will bet you a 6-pack of Dr. Pepper to my 6-pack of Pepsi Zero. And who knows? We'll see. What do we want to do? 2 years, 3 years? What do we want to put the limit on?
Uh, I say let's do 5.
Okay, so that makes sure that we're still together in 5 years, right? Perfect.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
December 15th, uh 2030.
Sounds good.
We'll come back and revisit this podcast and we'll see what happens. And you know what? By that time, we might actually finally meet,
Yes, yes.
and I will come and save you from the beating in the ring and smash these guys over the head with the 6 pack of Dr. Pepper.
That sounds good.
That's something that we can look at here. So, look, overall, the show was great. It was a showcase of younger talent. Let's talk about that really quickly here. I think we've covered Cena's legacy. Cena's left a great legacy of discipline. Cena's left a legacy, in my opinion, of never backing down and believing in what you believe in. He stayed steadfast to that philosophy. The fact that we never saw him become a heel, maybe him turning heel made us realize that he should never have been a heel the way that run went, right? So John Cena's legacy to me is about working hard, hustle, loyalty, respect in the fullest sense. Nothing but love to the man. I wish him nothing best wishes. And just take care of your body, man, because he looks broken. The man is broken. Go back and take a look at pictures. His wife is always holding his hand, helping him out of the car. He's not the same John Cena. And he's doing the right thing. He's stopping. He could probably go another year if he wanted to.
Well, and the fun fact that if John would have had his way, this was been a whole different year because John wanted the full schedule. And WWE said, no, we just want you for 35 dates. So I think again, as much as we give WWE crap on so many different things,
Yeah.
I think this was the right call because John would have been hurt. The one thing about it, you cannot go with these big pauses in wrestling and come back and think you can come back and do it. CM Punk is a great example of that. So
It feels like what they're doing to CM Punk is a punishment. It's because if you think about CM Punk, there's one guy who should be on a limited schedule is him. But he keeps pushing himself harder and harder. So you got to give that guy respect too. I don't care what anybody says, right? Everyone's
no,
waiting for that shoe to fall on Punk, but I don't think it's going to fall. I think he's done. I think he's past it all. I think
he may be,
realizes.
and you could be 100% right on that. That he's got it out of the system. His body has adjusted, and it takes time to get back. The true thing they always say is it's a difference being in shape and being in ring shape. It's a whole different beast.
Well, no,
So
dude, you can train and train and train it too much. Now, listen, I'm going to talk about that very quickly here. Logan Paul, we're seeing more of him now on regular TV, which is good because now I can say, okay, this guy doesn't have a month to practice this match. Right? Every match up until maybe 4 or 5 months ago that Logan Paul had ever been in, he had almost a month and a half to work on these matches where other guys are working on a week to week basis, right?
right,
So seeing Logan perform more regularly, we saw him in a regular match last week. We're going to get to see him again this week. He's scheduled to be up against Rey Mysterio on Raw this week, tonight. So I'm glad that we're getting to see that a bit more now.
right.
So that's kind of good. They're doing the right things, Bear. It just takes time. Nothing's overnight. It's
It,
like I always say, you and I are in a unique position that we've consumed so much wrestling. We've been a part of, we were there live when Hogan won the title against the Sheik. We were there live when Backlund lost to the Sheik. We watched the Rock and Wrestling era premiere. We were kids then.
we saw the first pay-per-view.
We saw it all, dude. But can I be honest? And I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way or nothing, but we didn't even have a garden down below yet.
Yeah,
That's how
no,
young we were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Our shit hadn't even dropped. We were still talking like this. Oh my God, Hulk Hogan, yeah. Right?
Right.
We were teenagers in the Attitude Era.
It,
Okay, well, no, we weren't, Bear.
we were
We're
early
we
20s.
were early 20s in the Attitude Era. Okay, we watched the new generation start.
Here's what I tell. As a matter of fact, I was talking to a friend a few days ago, and I we were just talking in general. I said, "Man, you know we old when we can remember when somebody comes in the NBA as rookie, and then they are retiring, and it's like, what?
Well,
What?
let's see, dude. Honestly, you and I can honestly say that we caught Magic, Bird, Dominic Wilkins, um,
Barkley,
Olajuwon, Paul
yeah,
Pierce.
all those guys.
Right, we watched him near the end, but we
Yeah,
got all of Jordan.
yes,
We watched him retire. Okay. Now the reason I bring all this up there is because last night in our WSN Big Family Chat group, okay, our president and our other co-founder were actually, I could feel how sad they felt
oh yeah.
by the comments that they left in that group. And I was ready to mock everyone, and I stopped because I realized, oh shit, these feelings are real.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And
Now
and
it
I
got me
still
thinking though, Bear. It got me thinking, why don't I feel that way about any of the guys that I loved growing up watching wrestling? Then I realized what it was, Bear. Everyone that I idolized is still in wrestling. They never left. Okay. When I talk about wrestlers, my favorite two wrestlers of all time were The Undertaker and Triple H. And those were my guys through and through and through. As a little kid, Hogan, yes, but Hogan never left. I felt that pain, I guess, a little bit when Hogan died. But in
right.
terms of my favorite wrestlers leaving wrestling forever, like John Cena has, and the fact that our compatriots feel this way leads me to believe even more that even deep down in their own heart of hearts, they know that he's not coming back to fight. Right?
So with that,
Our guys
I
never
made the
retired.
I made a comment. I was like, look, and it was funny, but it was meant to be funny, but it's a truthful statement. I've lived through Ric Flair's retirement for
Five
six
times?
times
Oh,
now.
6 times. There you go. Yeah, same here. You and I both, brother.
And it's like, guys, it's gonna be okay because we have a younger group. There's always someone willing, able to step up and continue taking our sport to where we need it to go. And
It's
I
not, yeah.
get it because when Dusty Rhodes passed away, man, it hit me hard
There, that's the
when
thing.
Roddy Piper.
That's the thing. And this is the point I'm making. Everyone that we loved and cherished, we had to wait for them to die to feel what our friends are feeling with a simple retirement,
Right,
right? Hunter never left. He's not fighting anymore, but he's still around. I still get my fix of Hunter.
right,
Taker, yeah, he's pretty much done, but he's, we're getting a whole different re-imaged Taker that we never got before.
yeah.
I
With
watched this man never talk for pretty much 30 years. Now he doesn't stop talking,
and
right?
look, and here's the crazy part again too. I remember when Taker wasn't Taker and he was wrestling.
It was me, Mark.
One of my favorite matches of the take of Undertaker was pre-Taker. It was him taking on Lex Luger for the US title at the Great American Bash. And guess who his manager was?
He was a part of the Dangerous Alliance.
No, he wasn't a part of the alliance because it wasn't. It was pre-alliance,
Pre-aligned, but
but
Paul Heyman.
yes, it was Paul Lee. So, like you said, I agree with you 1,000%. I understand how the guys are feeling, but again, for me, I have never seen anyone not come back to the business at least once. And again, I don't fault anybody because, like I said, when you have such passion for something and you're not able to do it, then what you do, you evolve. And that's why you have so many agents, referees, just on promoters, whatever. They're still in the business because they love the business.
Look, not everyone walks away from the business like The Rock did. Not everyone's going to walk
Well,
away from the business like John Cena did.
what and see here, and that's the point to it. The Rock walked away, but where is he at now? He's still in the business.
He still is. He still is, right? But
And
well, with John Cena, though, I see him coming back as more of just to hype up the crowd, to get the crowd going. I mean, quite frankly, last night, the way he was taking everything off, I thought he should have left the jorts in the ring, too.
I thought he was too, to be
I thought I
honest.
really was waiting. Okay, here come the jorts, because I mean that's symbolic right there, right?
Right.
Out of everything else that he left in that ring, those jorts should have been thrown down. Just is my take. That's what I saw. That's what I thought we should have seen last night with him. But look, Obafemi looked great.
Ooh, I'm. Oh,
Let's talk
so
about Oba.
Oba is. If there's no one else in NXT ready for the main roster, it is Oba.
Oba looked good,
He looked good.
but did Cody
What I
make him look
did
good?
not like, what I did not like, and I understand why, the Drew McIntyre run in.
No, 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 I get that, and that destroyed it, and that killed it. But it also kept everyone strong.
I get it, and I knew that was the reason why they did it. It's the Dusty Rose. And again, I'm not necessarily ups. Well, I'm not. I understand it, but still, they had a great opportunity because if Oba would have pinned Cody, it wouldn't have hurt Cody. That's the thing.
It didn't hurt Cody, but what made it great and made it work with the Drew running well, is my opinion, is the way he was able to manhandle Cody the way he did with the one hand, with the choke slam, with that one move where he just picked him up off the mat. Like, it takes two to dance in wrestling. I get it. You know, physically, Oba shouldn't be able to do that in real life
Right.
without the assistance of Cody helping him do it all, right? I get that. But the visual of it, what we got to see, was phenomenal. Okay. That's just one strong ass man. To cut him open hard way, to have the blood there, was also another element that made that match even more powerful. The way he threw him with one hand over the announcer table. Those are the things that stand out. He made him bleed. He tossed him around. The future looks good for this kid. You needed Drew to break it up, because if he destroyed him, then yeah, you could say, okay, well, your world champion is a real piece of shit. It solidifies what a lot of the marks, the keyboard warriors in their mother's basements are trying to create the narrative of. They had to dispel that, right?
Right.
So I had no problem with that. I had a problem with Bailey last night, though. I think she had one really poor night. Not because she lost, but man, is it just because we watch so much wrestling we can pinpoint when they make a mistake? And Bailey, at the level that she's at, made a couple mistakes in that match that just really glared out at me. And maybe I'm being nitpicky here. One is when Sol Ruco was standing on, getting herself up onto the top rope, and Bailey was bent over. She stayed in that position for way too
Way
long,
too long. Yeah.
waiting for her to execute, and her looking back, waiting for her to see where she's at was silly. Now I'm nobody to talk about it. Okay, I've never had a real match. I've been put through a table. I've been hit with a chair. Yes, but I've not had a match in my life. But I know enough that I guess this is where I could be a coach.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I have that knowledge. And what I noticed was that what she should have done, in my opinion, is stayed on the canvas, grab that first rope and bring herself up slowly, take a look back at that point, and make that move look more so. That killed me a little bit. Did you see that?
Yes, it did. And it it wasn't the flubs for me. What what got me is if we can do this with Cody, they should have had something similar for Bailey.
Yeah.
And not again, not that Bailey couldn't have lost, because that's not what I'm saying.
No.
But the storyline they're running with Bailey, they should have had Bailey snap. She should have went to her other character at some point in the match, or even at the end of the match, because they've been telling this story that she's having the split personalities and stuff.
Mm. Do you think some of this comes from the fact that she's starting to be a little bit outspoken in some of her interviews and stuff in terms of how she felt about the WrestleMania diss?
Mm,
Because it's coming out now. Even Asuka's talked about it on her podcast. I don't know if you caught her comments on it, but she's very upset by how Bailey's being treated because of who she is. Asuka is saying that the Four Horsemen and herself included, with Bailey, Sasha at that time, Becky, and Charlotte, were the reasons and the major catalyst for most of the major change that we've seen, like the final igniting spark that realized and created what we see today in women's wrestling across the board. She's pretty upset about it, right? So I'm
and I understand why. Both, I mean, I can understand her point why, but again, I look at it like this: we, everybody can take a say what they think they contribute to the sport.
yeah,
Now, God, God bless them that they put in tremendous work, and they were the first people saying that women could actually do anything the men's can do in WWE. But if
yeah.
we're going to be real, it's not them. It was TNA who should get the credit, because their women division was the first that did it and stood on business as far as putting women on a higher plane.
Well, hey, brother, man, we can say the same thing. Tesla is the one who created electricity, but that Franklin fella took all the credit,
Exactly.
right? I
Yeah.
mean, it is what it is. I get it.
Yeah. So I'm not mad at that. And getting back to Bailey, I think it's one, and maybe it's just my the way I look at things. Women are seen so much different than men, and Bailey doesn't look like she aged. Bailey looks pretty much like herself when she pretty much started. So it for me, I have to think, oh crap, she's been doing this for quite a while.
Well,
Bailey is not a spring chicken
Bailey is considered to be a locker room leader. She
leader.
she holds that position, right? And
Exactly.
and that's like her, Punk are kind of your generals right now on Raw.
Right.
And Bailey, I'm pretty sure Bailey would have had to say. in the outcome of that match.
You would think,
So
but
that being said, how much of it is Bailey's decision to put over Sol Ruka as
she
well,
probably did.
right? Because I mean,
She
look, who's she mentoring right now? And we talked about this before on the 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 main event roundtable as well. I've said this to you before that Bailey is now mentoring Lyra because we've always mentioned that Lyra maybe was called up too soon.
correct.
Okay. But the work that she's done with Bailey has made her so much better. Like she now I feel like Lyra's a part of that main roster. Okay. But that all being said, I guess so Ruka is the future. She is going to be coming up. Zarya will probably come up as well. Which should kind of be interesting because we have another Australian powerhouse coming up there as well. Um, but that being said, talking about the Australian connection, very quickly, wasn't it interesting to see Alistair and Rhea have that interaction on SmackDown?
Funny enough, I didn't see SmackDown.
Okay, so they had the final match,
Right.
and there was a point there where Alistair was standing in the ring and Rhea was kind of coming up, and they're looking at each other. All I can think of was Buddy,
Yeah, that's exactly. Even with me not seeing it, the first thing is Buddy in my mind because that's
right?
the connection for them.
Right, that was a connection for me. So here we have the wife of your guy staring you down now, and she gave him a headbutt at the end. Like he walked away too. He smiled at her, walked through the ropes, like just got himself out of the ring, and then she just came and hit him with the headbutt.
Ah,
That was kind of you got to be a wrestling fan at that point to appreciate what I just said.
exactly, and that is the beauty of it. I think throughout everything we can sit and talk about, we point out different things. There is so much little beauty that one little thing can mean so much in wrestling, and nobody else will get it but that true wrestling fan. And that's what I truly love about the sport is little stuff, just like Samoa Joe taking on Eddie Kingston,
Yeah,
which
with a
was a great,
little
yes, that was a great match, by the way. But him giving a salute to John, most people did not understand that.
we saw a
And
lot of it on the show afterwards.
exactly. And that's the cool thing about it. Just little nods that you like, oh, I got that. I see what he did. Yeah.
Right?
And everybody
There's
else
a
like,
lot of that. And again, it shows you how much John Cena impacted everybody. We come back to that again, right? Like all these guys, not many people are showing hate because it doesn't exist, right? A lot of this love that's coming out there it's real love. And now for people, you said this at the beginning of the show, and I didn't get a chance to really comment on it, but I will now. You talked about how people didn't want him around and are upset that he's gone. Well, shit, you know what? You realize what you don't have once it's left you.
yes, sir. Yes,
So,
sir.
accept it for what it is. And if you were upset about this and that, well, that's just on you, people. Very simple. I'm sorry. I can't even sugarcoat that, right? It is what it is. It's really simple. But listen, man, let's move on here. Here's what we know that's going to happen tonight on Monday Night Raw. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm going to put this one out, then I'm going to go straight to it. No, you know what? Let's just do the match announcements first. So we know Stephanie Vacure will be defending against Raquel Rodriguez for the championship. We got that match coming up here. Tonight, we're also going to get Maxine Dupuis defending against Ivy Nile, the returning Ivy Nile. Good to see her back. Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul. We talked about that. Should be interesting to see how Logan Paul does here. The Usos versus the New Day and World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk will address Braun Breaker. Punk returning after the death of Larry. Um, if you've ever lost a pet, I can appreciate it and I understand it. And we're going to get Gunther, who will celebrate his victory over John Cena. So we got all that tonight, guys, on Raw. Should be an interesting Raw. I'm going to call this a filler Raw because basically we're just the next couple of weeks are just fillers. Yes or no?
Yes.
Just to fill it to January 5th.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to get a lot of that. So that's what's happening tonight. But I want to talk about Stephanie Vick here. I want to go straight into the headlines of the week. Tony Khan has been accused, AEW has been accused of mistreating female and international talent as it comes to locker rooms, as it comes to treatment, as it comes to just things in general. Now, Bear, I'll give you an example. Okay. This is just a news story. It's been out for about a week. How many of you people listening to the show right now have you even heard of this happening? I brought it to your attention now, Bear, didn't I? This afternoon,
Yes, you did.
before we started, you didn't even know about it.
Yeah, I guess I was super surprised from the fact of how many different organizations that AEW works with. It was really shocking to hear that, and some of the things that supposedly they've did. But then once you brought that to my attention, I told you about the lawsuit that they're in with the former Dalton Castle boys.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can't remember the announcer's name, but they all three of them have a lawsuit against AEW. And I guess what really got my made me think is no matter what goes on in wrestling, there's still a dark side. There's always going to be something going on. And it's so sad, but that's just the way it unfortunately is. You're going to have good and
Kevin
bad.
Kelly. Kevin Kelly.
Kevin Kelly. And matter of fact, Kevin is announcing in Mid Atlantic uh, tra- traditional championship wrestling. If I screwed that up, I'm so sorry. But I actually watch them. They have great product. Go out your way to watch it if you love old school wrestling.
Yeah, so
Um,
Kevin Kelly and the Tate twins, Brandon and Brandon. So
yeah,
Brandon and Brandon,
Brandon,
right?
Brandon,
Why
and
would the parents do that to their own twins, man? Like seriously, the only difference between your name is an O and an A. You're asking for trouble at that point. How do you even know Brandon is Brandon and Brandon is Brandon? God dang. Okay,
and
sorry.
funny, and another funny fact.
It's Monday morning, people.
They're from Knoxville, Tennessee, too. So,
There you go.
hey, Knoxville has a lot of great talent that came from here. Navi Alves,
Yeah,
uh, Bianca, but
Kane.
can't, yeah. But
Lionel
anyway,
Kane. He's the mayor of Knoxville, right?
I'm just joking.
Is he your mayor?
Yes, he is.
I tell you,
Me and
you
him
should
don't
go.
see eye to eye on politics.
You should go down there and stand up there and say you need to come on this podcast called Samp, the Professor and the Samp, and we want to talk to you.
Well, actually, funny enough, I've been actually working on that.
Fantastic, fantastic. But yeah, Bear. So the mistreatment of international talent. So this is kind of going to showing up at a show, being at the airport, not knowing where you're supposed to go. This is what they're kind of referencing here a little bit. Some of the things, right? Not
Right,
taking care of international talent. Now, okay, if I come to Knoxville to visit you, now I'm pretty self-assured, right?
right.
If you give me your address, I'm sure I can find my way to your home. I don't need anyone to pick me up, this and that. But etiquette dictates if someone's coming to visit you for the first time, wouldn't you go to the airport to greet them?
Is that or if you
Just
couldn't
saying.
go, you made sure that you had your way, everything was taken care of where you were okay. And especially you being a big company, why first off, why in the hell do you not have someone there to greet them, to take them to the hotel? Because they may have this may be their first time in the States.
Shit, even at an indie level, that's done.
Exactly. So
right?
that is mind blowing to me.
So what I find interesting then when Punk said it, remember Punk said the same shit about being in England and
Yes,
his experience. Everyone shit on him. But then again, it's understandable because Punk has always been the boy who cried. I'm not saying in that sense, but
right.
the same
No,
kind of philosophy, the same
yes,
kind of, oh, he's talked so much shit in his life. You know what I mean? No one's going to take it with a grain of salt anymore. Right?
boy that cries wolf.
Right? The boy who cried wolf, Pinocchio, you name it, all those, poor bastards that got done in. Right? Right. Same thing here. Like you look at Punk wasn't wrong. He was saying the same thing 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah,
Right? Like and to hear it from Stephanie Bakir, who's to say because of that treatment that wasn't the reason that she ended up signing with WWE?
exactly.
Because a week before she signed, she was fighting Monet. People
Yep.
don't forget that. Can't forget it. Stephanie Bakir's last match before coming to WWE was against Mercedes on AEW Dynamite.
And uh, and again, if nothing else, it's professionalism.
But what hurts more, Bear, is when you look at AEW. Okay, and I don't know if I can say this, and I apologize in advance, but I always say AEW is being the woke wrestling company. Okay, they are the left wing of wrestling in terms of how the wrestlers act, how people act. Oh, you can't say this, you can't do that. I'm politically incorrect. I can't change. Okay, I'm getting
Right.
to an age in my life where I'm picking up my park bench, where I'm going to nestle up when I retire and talk shit. And everyone's just going to walk by and say, "Oh, don't worry about him. He's just that old guy." I'm grandfathered in, right? We're the
Right.
last generation that we can get away with saying shit now.
Right.
Fair? We're
Fair.
grandfathered in, bro.
Oh yeah.
We're lucky. We can talk the shit that our grandfathers talked, our fathers talked, but our children can't.
Exactly.
So when I look at AEW, it's always, women first, everything, empowerment, empowerment, empowerment. This report goes against everything that they're supposed to stand for. And considering it's women that they're doing it to, forget the dudes.
Yes.
Dudes can always find their way. We live in a world of GPS. We live in a world of easy, accessible information. But back in the day, that didn't exist. So can you imagine if they did this back in the day? If you showed up into a city, you're a young lady, and you don't know where you're supposed to go.
Yeah. It's crazy that again.
And the
The
mistreatment goes into the locker room. It goes into the training facilities for these girls apparently there. Guys and girls, I implore you, go check it out. See this article. It's really crazy. Um, I don't understand why it hasn't picked up steam.
I don't either, and it
And the
again.
fact that AEW and Tony Khan haven't refuted it or haven't commented on it just makes it make me believe it's real then. If you have
And
nothing to say, what are you supposed to do?
that's my thing. It makes this is a mark for me in AEW because now I'm not going to look at AEW the same.
I'm sorry I did that to you, Bear. I apologize on
Well,
this
no,
Monday
I
morning.
mean, but
I didn't want to
it's
do that. 2 weeks away
no.
from
Here's the
Christmas.
thing. Here's the thing about it. It's what you do and stand on it. As my one of my favorite saying now, keep that same energy. If you're the person like me, I talked so much crap about Vince Russo. Well, if I got to meet Vince Russo and he cussed me out, whatever, okay, it's cool. I'm not gonna be mad because that's the energy I had. And that's the thing. People, we have a tendency as humans, and that's all we are, human. We make mistakes and everything, but we don't want to have that same energy and flair when we think we're right. When we're right, oh, blah, 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 blah. But when we're wrong, well, give me a break. No, you had that same energy when you were talking crap. Keep that same energy when you were wrong. So
Well, look,
again, my whole thing with AEW is, if this is true, and I have no reason to not believe it is because of some different incidents, you have to stand on business and get your house in order. This is ridiculous. This is unacceptable. And you should be ashamed of yourself. You are supposed to be a professional company. Number two, you can argue that they're number two in the world next to WWE. And this is how you're treating your talent. It's a shame. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
No, I completely agree with you, man. And it is what it is. It's more and more of these kind of things are going to come up. We're so busy shitting on Vince McMahon and this and that, but I mean, he never did any of these things. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. I'm just saying. Right? You know, it's unfortunate that it's coming out this way, and it's more unfortunate for me is the fact that it's not picking up any steam. No one's talked about it. It hasn't been brought up. Um, Tony Khan's announcing the return of a new show, of a returning show.
Yeah.
That's more important to talk about. You know what I mean?
Which was crazy because I that heard about Dark and didn't hear about this.
Yeah.
So again, this is but that's just wrestling the business, I think, that a lot of times, and it's who you know and what you can do, because there's a lot of different, because imagine a smaller company would not be able to get away with this. They wouldn't, because
Mhm.
it would be out there, people would be dogging them. And again, it's that, keep that same energy for me.
So,
AEW, you should be damn shame of yourselves, and you need to be
well,
able, you
hey,
should fix this immediately.
well, listen. AEW coach Sarah Stock recently took aim at her former employee, criticizing the company's management handling of talent and backstage policies, particularly regarding female and international wrestlers. She claims that HR and mental health systems were mishandled, alleging that decisions put performers at risks, that the executives prioritized finances and making money over the talent, the well-being of talent. Um, she questions the removal of qualified mental health team. The coach also criticized travel arrangements for talent, pointing out that male wrestlers like Adam Copeland, Orange Cassidy routinely received airport pickups, while international and female wrestlers were often left to navigate airports and local logistics on their own. So it wasn't that they weren't doing it for everyone; they just picked and choose who they were helping out here.
Yeah, it
Uh,
shows.
Report noted that some wrestlers have airport pickups included in their contracts, while others are expected to handle their own travel and seek reimbursement afterwards. Stock connected this policy directly to the struggles faced by Mexicans and other international females. AW has not responded to any of these claims. So I
And
just to bring it
it,
up a little bit to give some context.
well, and again, I get it too, because let's be real. This is a business. No matter what you may think of this is a business. So a lot of people who have been in the business long time, they understand to have certain things in their contract. I'm not mad about that. But you would think, if you are bringing in a talent, you want to let them have the best experience working with your brand. And especially if they are international, haven't been over here, the least thing you could do is help them get to where their room is and let them know where the venue is. The least thing. Everything else, I no problem. I understand. But come on now. It again, it's a company thing, and I think it would look better. And I understand trying to keep your bottom line because you can't do everything. You can't because you're going to lose money. I get that too. But there are little things that can be done that will keep your brand where people will want to work with you. So,
Yeah, I completely agree, Bear. I completely agree with you, man. But hey, listen, here's something that I think a lot of people have to understand. You got to even your biggest names, John Cena, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, they're not actual employees of the company. Every wrestler, 99.9%. Hell, I'll even argue maybe even 100% of every wrestler that we see on TV, they're all independent contractors. The only
yes,
people truly employed by wrestling companies are the guys behind the stage. Even the referees are independent contractors.
which is which is really effed up because
But
and
that's how
this
they make their money, though.
no, and I understand that, but it's effed up because okay, that's how they make their money and stuff, and I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
But anytime they start the hey, we need a union, they lose their effing minds
Well, I
because
mean, yeah.
because if you don't take care of yourself, who's going to take care of you?
No, it's fine. I get that completely. Hey, I understand that, but this has been ongoing since the beginning of wrestling. Now, we talked about this to a certain extent. If you look at old school wrestling, even up until the 90s, up until the Attitude Era, until that actually ended, I don't think nothing changed. Everything changed with the guaranteed contracts after the Monday Night Wars and all that. But up until
Yes,
that point, every guy was fighting for their spot. It
yes,
was a dog eat dog world backstage. It wasn't all shits and giggles. Yeah, you were happy for the guy who won the title, but deep down you were burning inside,
and
right?
like
That was wrestling. That's how wrestling is, and it hasn't changed that way.
and just like I can't remember the wrestler he was talking about. He thought Hogan was really his friend, and he made a comment about getting the union. Oh, Jesse the Body Ventura. He was talking about trying to get the guys together to get a union, and Hogan went and ratted on him to Vince,
Of
and that's
course,
how he got fired.
no, for sure. I get that completely because Hogan knew again, it's all the politics, it's all the stuff that's happening backstage. And you know what? To be fair, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have dirt sheets. So, I was on Brother Joe Monroe's show on Friday, and we were talking about Georgia Championship Wrestling. We were talking about all these things. And the reality of it is, even in those times, in the independents, it was all about getting your in and you getting the best position possible, right? So
Yep,
it's just the way that wrestling industry is. It all kind of started to change with Edge and Christian. Everyone went out to drink. Everyone went out to party after a show. Edge and Christian were the first guys that kind of came in the company, said, "No, we're going to go back to our hotel room and read books." Now you look at wrestlers today, everybody, they don't go out anymore.
not a lot.
They all go back to the room and they carry their PlayStations with them. And they all play
And
video games
uh, uh, and if they do drink and do all that stuff, they keep it in house.
in the hotel, in their
Yeah,
rooms. They
because
can't
look,
be out
I
there.
don't need a scandal to take my money away.
Well, I guess remember Sean getting beaten up by all those dudes in Syracuse, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's a big man once you've had a couple, liquid venom drinks, as I like to call them.
To this day, Sean should go and put flowers on the British Bulldog's grave for saving him that night.
Hey, there's some guys who are real fighters, and then there's guys who aren't, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it is what it is. But Professor, I tell you what, man, I think we've covered everything we've had to say here. Um, Big shout out to John Cena. Congratulations on your retirement. Um, I'm sure we got some great things coming here. You got Peacemaker happening right now. You got your next installment of the Fast and Furious coming as well here. Can you argue? I'll leave you with this. Would you say that Cena's a better actor than The Rock? I think he is.
Honestly, I think they're on the same tier.
See, I disagree. I think Cena has more in terms of levels of his acting than The Rock has, in my opinion. And the reason I say that now, I implore you and I implore everyone listening to go back and look at The Rock and what he wears in 90% of his films. It's the same bloody outfit, gray t-shirt and jeans.
Right. Well, he's typecast.
But dude, look at it. He wears everything, right? Like, and the fact, congratulations to The Rock. He's finally getting a nomination at the Global Golden Globes for the fighting
Yeah, the
machine,
machine.
right? And I'll tell you what, I watched the first 15 minutes of it. If you can get past the first 15, then you're in the film. And I'm not saying it's a problem, it's just the way it was cut. It's just the way they put that first 15 together. If you don't know who Mark Kerr is, I don't think that first 15 minutes is going to engage you. Nothing against Mark Kerr, but that time of UFC, that time of MMA, it was very niche. And only guys
Right.
like you and me that actually maybe watched it from the beginning. Because I was there. I bought the very first UFC in '93.
Oh yeah. Going over my buddy's house.
There you go. There you go.
Man, we
Right?
it was that and wrestling. That's what we
Exactly.
used to watch.
Exactly. So if you're not a fan or familiar with old UFC, with these real hardcore guys, like you could take Mark Coleman, Mark Kerr, uh, Severin, and that other dude with the cowboy look, the one.
Dan Severn.
That's there's a couple more guys there. Okay,
Right.
those 5, 6 guys right there in their primes would destroy everybody on the modern roster.
Oh yeah.
Those were
Easy.
men. Those were
Yeah.
man's
Oh,
men,
men's men.
right? Those were the dudes you don't mess with.
That they would make, no disrespect, but they would make Brock Lesnar look like a bitch.
Hey, dude. Yeah,
Just
yeah. I'm
straight
just
up
trying
and
to
down.
remember what that guy's name is. I see his face. He had that fight in Japan where it was on Pride and they were just standing in the center of the ring, just pounding each other in the head, shot for shot. Ah, what's his name? Okay, you know what? Shame on me, but we're a wrestling social. I can get away with that one. Um, but yeah, congratulations to him. But I think John Cena has shown more diversity in his
I get
ability.
definitely I
Ricky
agree with
Stenicki,
that.
Ricky Stenicki, go check it out.
And the thing
Trainwreck.
is, I say the thing is that John was smarter in the fact that he wanted different roles. He didn't want the same thing. Where The Rock was typecast and he's starting to try to branch out.
Well, he
But
tried in the beginning when he tried to be the gay guy on Get Shorty.
hey, I love that. That was
I'm just saying that
hilarious.
was his first attempt, right?
Right.
But after that, everything he did up until the fighting machine, and
It
maybe not that. Where what was that Disney film where he was the
the
steamboat
Tooth
guy,
Fairy.
right?
Yeah, he did the Tooth Fairy. He has some comedies in there,
He does,
but
he
not
does.
serious
No, but
role.
Cena's a great comedic actor, but he can
Yes,
also be a very serious actor as well. We saw that in
exactly.
Trainwreck with Amy Schumer. It was a small
Yes,
role, but you saw a different John Cena in that role,
yes. And
right?
like you said, his range is so much more as because he was smart enough to have different types of roles.
Now
Where
you guys can't see it, but you got a Samp standing on my shoulder, and he's whispering in my ear right now that, "Hey, man, you forgot to wait. What's that? Oh, right, Dave Batista. Is he probably even better than both of them combined because he really held up for the roles that he wanted?
yes, he bar none. Batista, he definitely, and it's the one thing that I definitely like. These guys has taken it serious. It's
Him
not,
more
well,
so.
I just
Even
got a
him more
shot.
so.
Batista has done so many different, and look at how he transforms his body.
Well, yeah, look at that. Like, look at, for example, he left a lot of money on the table for roles that he didn't accept that were easy roles for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he held out to be Mr. Hinch in a Bond film, right? I think he's probably made more money than The Rock combined with just being Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy,
Oh yeah.
right? So, I mean, good for him. Good for Dave. Good for everything he's doing. Good for all three of those guys, and opening the door for the Romans and everyone else. But you know what? I'm going to open the door here, and it's time for Professor and the Samp to walk away. Now, Professor, I think we got one more show in us, and then we're going to call it quits till January. Are you okay with that?
Yes, sir. I think that is the best call.
Okay. So, reason being is, I'm gonna pull back the fourth wall here, may I? The professor was looking to have a beautiful 3 weeks off here, but I pulled him in with the lure of honey and sugar cubes, as any bear would go for those. And I brought him into the cave, and now we've done this. I'm going to release him. I'm going to release myself, and then I'm going to try it one more time next week to see if I can get the bear back. And we'll do one more show for you guys, and then we'll be back full steam in January. And we'll go from there. So up until that point, guys and gals, it's Monday. It's 10 days till Christmas. 10 days from today till the big day when the big man shows up. Hopefully everybody gets what they want. And if they don't be sad. It's okay. It's all about family. It's all about everything else in between. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing much more I can say on that. So on the behalf of the professor, I'm Bobby Sampson. God bless you all. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.
They're Professor and the Samp, yes, Professor and the Samp. One's a historian, the other loves to chat. They talk about the fights, all the slams and lights. It's wrestling mayhem day and night. They're Professor and the Samp, yes, Professor and the Samp. Their takes are quite insane, the wrestling world's their game. They break it down, they call it